what just happened? What just happened? If y'all just saw the game right now, the Celtics have officially blown a 3-1 lead to the Philadelphia 76ers. And there's a lot of layers to this game. I'm going to give some time to it right now. But this is just some of my initial reactions. First things first, shout out to the Sixers. That is the first thing I'm going to say. They've been extremely impressive. The ability to be able to get a game without Embiid was very pivotal. Tyrese Maxey, I've been saying it for a while now, but I don't think I've said it on video yet. He has perfected this offensive side of basketball. Truly. He can do whatever he wants on offense. He has the mid-range game on lock. He showed a lot of that during this game, and he understands when to pull out the mid-range because most of the time players are stepping back with him because he's just so quick, and they don't want to just give him an easy drive to the rim. So that mid-range is pivotal for his game, and he uses it, and he knows he can use it. So it's not even like he forces himself to drive. He has easy avenues to score without driving. An amazing three-point shooter, great passer. I believe he had 25 and 10, no turnovers. He's just such a great player out there. And I feel like it's hard for him to get the recognition he deserves because there are so many like different amazing guards out there. But if he's in any other era, genuinely, he's an All-NBA player. He's higher ranked than he is, and I feel like he should be higher ranked than he is right now, and he should be in a lot more conversations than he is in right now. It's just the fact that Philly was bad last year, and he kind of always had that back seat to some other guard that Embiid was playing with. Now it's just him and Embiid, and he's really getting that sort of like spotlight that he deserves. Speaking of Embiid, bravo. They threw a lot of different coverages at Embiid during this game. They specifically had a coverage where they were doing Jaylen Brown on him because he has very active hands, and he is a great defender, good vertically. I'll talk a little bit more about Jaylen Brown's performance a little bit later. But like the way that he was able to still, regardless of any coverage that they threw at him, dominate. Because let me pull his numbers up right now. He has such an amazing game, man. Like he had himself 34 points, 12 rebounds, and 6 assists. And a lot of his bad performance times was in the fourth quarter, and the reason why he had a bad fourth quarter was because he was laboring from injury. He really wasn't at all close to the percentage he was in the first three quarters. As they showed multiple times in the broadcast, the right side of his body is still dealing with a bit since his appendectomy. So he is, of course, not all the way there right now, but he still gave them buckets, and all these different coverages that the Celtics were throwing at him might have worked with any other big man. Genuinely might have worked with any other big man except for Embiid, because he has the mental capacity to be able to make the next pass, and he's also just skilled enough offensively that he can finish over two people if they are if that sort of like height disadvantage for them. And we were having this conversation in the group chat during the game where I was saying Embiid is at this level right now where he is extremely underrated on every single like platform and statement possible. There's nobody in the league that has such a negative rap while not ever being a negative player. It is just the fact that during his prime, it was much more showcased that he was foul baiting and like not being an ethical hooper, quote unquote, even though today he was extremely well with that. He was like so good at everything today. But that was the main thing that spotlighted him during his career, during his like main prime when he was going for MVPs and things like that. So now that he's out of that and he's still an amazing player, people are kind of like starting to like appreciate his game a bit. And I like to see that for somebody like him, because I've been critical of Embiid in certain moments, because there are moments where you should be critical of Embiid. He's had very inefficient games, like that series against the Hawks a few years ago when Ben Simmons did have a stinker, but Embiid did not score well in that second half, and it led to this Hawks being able to come back and win that series. But let me not go on that crazy little tangent. What I am trying to say is we were talking about his defensive impact, because I feel like people tend to forget about how defensively sound Joel Embiid is, and that was like his main thing coming out of college was his defensive impact, and it's just because his scoring has gotten to such a high level since then that it kind of becomes second, like it became the secondary thing that people brought up with Embiid. And another thing that we brought up was, who would we rather have in their prime, Embiid or Jokic? And I'm not saying that like, oh, who's better is who you would rather have. And I'm talking about fully healthy, because Embiid does not have the question marks that Jokic has. Embiid is a good enough passer to where it's like I don't have an issue having him play like having the ball in his hands. And I know there was a few issues in this game where it was like, oh, his teammates weren't calling out what people were behind him, but also he has to be more aware where he almost got 2 steals. He almost got the ball stolen from him 2 times because of that sort of stuff, but that's neither here nor there. I'm saying he's a good enough playmaker to where as a big man, it doesn't really affect the game negatively if you switch him and Embiid, like him and Jokic when it comes to playmaking. He's a million times better defender career-wise. Million times, not even close. And scoring, if I had to go bag for bag, I think that Embiid's bag, I think it's because it looks better to me, but his bag is better than Jokic's. Jokic just has a guaranteed shot in people's minds where it's like that 10-foot little push shot or like 5-foot push shot that always goes in. But I feel like every big man is going to make that every time. We saw it with Embiid today. Every time that they had Jaylen Brown on him or Baylor Shireman, I can't wait to get to the Celtics in this video. I promise you I can't. But every time they had somebody like that on him, it was just an easy layup or an easy dunk. And he made one of the clutchest threes of the game. They were only about 1 point at this point. Jaylen Brown was coming off of an and one layup. He made the free throw. And Nemes Keita, I believe it was, left him open for 3. Butter. Chicken. And I feel like this is what they're addressing one of the biggest flaws with the Celtics right now. Their big man play is so bad. Vucevic cannot play in this series because Embiid would just exploit him. Luka Garza, they tried to start him. That was silly. And they got to the point where they stopped playing big men because none of them can contain what Embiid has to offer. And Nemes Keita had a good game number-wise. And I'm not saying he was bad at all. It's just that when it comes to defending Embiid, none of them had a chance. Let's get to some other players. VJ Edgecombe, amazing game, amazing series. And they showed on the broadcast that whenever he makes threes, they win the game. And today he had 5 threes made and they won. In the games before, the only games that they lost, he had no threes made. So that's something good to like keep in mind because he is such an impactful player in his rookie season. Early on in the season, a lot of people had him as their rookie of the year front runner because he was really good. Of course, he started to slow down a bit, but he still had a really good year, and he's looked like it's translated perfectly into the playoffs. I cannot wait to see how VJ Edgecombe's career goes because this series against one of the best teams, if not, this team was the front runner of the East. Like, I cannot say this enough. Every single person who was like doing predictions, who talks about basketball, they were all saying the Celtics are winning this series and they're going to win the East. Jason Tatum comes back, all this stuff. And even before Jason Tatum came back, people still viewed them as the favorites because of the season they had. I always said, in my opinion, this is the weakest Celtics team I've ever seen. So it really just depends on how the playoff format goes. And this Sixers team is not what they wanted to face. This Sixers team is incredibly talented and fully healthy. Like, that is not what you want to face. And I feel like the first seeded Detroit Pistons went through a similar thing where it was like they faced a team that nobody really wanted to face, where Orlando came into this season with hopes of having a 50-plus win season, and they obviously underperformed that, and they weren't able to, make it to that level regardless of what you might bring up, where it's like some stars underperformed or they had a lot of injury concerns and injury issues in general with people like Franz Wagner. But then you have them in the first round fully healthy, and it's like, oh shit, we really have to lock in the first round. But yeah, the Sixers, some more players I want to give some props to. Kelly Oubre, you are an energy guy to the fullest. I love Kelly Oubre. I used to call him Kelly Poubre when he played for the Warriors, though I won't lie, because he was pretty bad. But he's really found his spot over there in Philly, and I'm proud of him. I'm really happy for his game. Paul George, I'm so happy. We talked about this in the podcast. I'm so happy you are playing at the level that you are playing at right now. Tough shot maker, amazing defender still at this point of his career. It's hard to really view that. Like, it's hard for me to believe that because they said today, I think he turned 36. And he's still an insanely athletic, physical defender. And that is what you want out of your wing. And this is what they envisioned when they gave him that contract when he came through last year. And I'm so happy it's working out for them. Philly has dealt with a lot over the last few years when it comes to their team construction and team building. So they're incredibly lucky for what they have over there. And Joel Embiid got a monkey off his back a bit by beating the Celtics. The Celtics kind of had his number for a little bit. Ever since 2017, I don't think he's ever beaten the Celtics in a playoff series until today. They lost in 2017, or 2018. Yeah, it's 2018 when it was Jason Tatum's rookie season. They lost in the second round. After that, they played in 2020. Yeah, they played in 2020, I believe. And then they lost. No. 2020. Who did they play? Because I remember it was no Ben Simmons. I remember that, but I don't remember who they played. I think it might have been the Celtics in the first round, but they lost that one. 2021, did they play them? Fuck, I should really have the history up on my phone, but I was not prepared for this. I didn't think I was going to record after this game, but it just captivated me so much. It is such an insane game, and I'm insanely proud of what I'm able to see with this basketball product right now. This first round has been insane. One of the best first rounds in a very long time. The only thing that I can really think that like compares is when the Miami Heat went on their run and they were able to like rally the troops and beat the best team in the league. And I understand Giannis only played 3 games in that series. They lost all 3 of those games though, and the Heat just took the momentum and went to the finals. I don't know if we're gonna see that from the Sixers, but this is just as, if not more, impressive. And I know there's a lot of excuses that are gonna come from the Celtics side, and I'll talk about that in a bit. But he got this monkey off his back. This team also beat him when he had James Harden on his team, and he finally gets his revenge against the Celtics. But let's head over to the Celtics side. Jason Tatum misses this game, but being honest, you are still the favorite. You were the favorite in the series before Jason Tatum came back, so you should still be the favorite now that he's gone. Y'all lost last game with Tatum. Y'all lost 2 games with Tatum on the team. This is not an excuse. Stop it. And I understand it might be rough for some Celtics fans because over the last 2 series, they've missed Jason Tatum in their last game. But also, last year when they played the Knicks, they lost fair and square. They blew a lot of those games. And also, Jason Tatum got injured in the fourth quarter of a game that was basically already over. But that is an excuse a fan base would have, to be honest with you. What I will say is they had a good second half. I feel like that second half really revitalized the crowd and everything like that. And I'm so happy. Like, I'm not a Celtics hater by any means. I just don't like their fan base. And I got, like, if you watch the game, you remember the fan that was at the camera and he did this. This like middle-aged white man. If you know what I'm talking about, that's the type of fan that I do not like. So I'm very happy that they lost. But let's get to the analytical side of things. They shoot threes at such a high clip that it gives them the opportunity to come back into games like this, but it also takes them out of games. In this game, they shot 49 three-pointers and only made 13. To put that into perspective, the 76ers shot 28 and made 11. So they shot at a way better clip and basically made the same amount of threes as y'all. Why? I understand during the run of the Warriors dynasty, they showed like shooting the three-pointer proficiently or at a very high level would lead to success no matter what, and the ability to stay in every game. And they showed it today that they can stay in every game. But when your best shooters are average players, and I don't mean this in any disrespectful way towards players like Sam Hauser or Peyton Pritchard and stuff like that, but these are average NBA players. If they have a bad game three-point shooting wise, they don't have anything else to offer. That is the thing that's different with these players on the Celtics in comparison to what the Warriors had back in the day. We had Stephen Curry to where if he's not having a good shooting game, he can still get to his shot he can still get layups, he can still get assists, he can still defend at a really good level, at an underrated level. Same thing with Klay Thompson. Whereas if Peyton Pritchard has a game where he shoots 5 for 13 and 2 for 7 from 3, he's not really providing much. He's not a good defender. He's not really, like, I understand he has 7 assists, but it wasn't like impactful play. When you have a player like, I don't know, Sam Hauser only have 3 threes and then also get exploited on defense every time, is it really worth having him on the court and having him like have plays set and continuously shoot the ball and put the ball in his hands if it's just negatively impacting the team? Same thing with Derek White. Derek White might have had 26 points. but he also shot 9 for 26 and 5 for 16. Is that what you want your second best player on the court to do? Because that's what he is at this point. I understand that this team won a lot of games in this season and they like overexceeded expectations and everything, but this team is the weakest Celtics team I've seen in the last 10 years. Jaylen Brown had a great year. Jason Tatum, even if he was in the game, I truly do believe that this is still the weakest Celtics team I've ever seen. Derek White, horrible playoffs for him. Horrible season in general. Such a down shooting year for him, and I don't know what they're gonna do. They made the wrong choice when it came to trading him or Drew, in my opinion. But also, I guess they thought Drew was more over the hill than him. But I do think that Drew Holiday being on this team would have caused a bigger shift than we're giving it credit for. But that's neither here nor there. And a lot of people will be complaining about second apron. Second apron did ruin this team. This second apron made them trade Porzingis and made them trade Drew Holiday and made them do all these different moves to try to restructure this team with a cheaper payroll. And since they have a cheaper payroll, that there's somebody like Vucevic on the team who did not play today. And there's a reason why he didn't play today, because he cannot handle Joel Embiid. There is not a single thing he can do with him. Whereas they had somebody like Porzingis, who is a great interior defender regardless of his injury concerns and all that stuff with all the AIDS and herpes jokes and stuff. But he can defend the interior to a high level in comparison to Vucevic, who can't do it at all, especially against a superstar. And then you have somebody else like Baylor Shireman. And I'm not at all here to talk down on somebody who's trying to live their life, following their dreams and things like that. But over the last few years, they've been saying that Baylor Shireman is their secret weapon, especially a lot of high analytical guys and Celtics fans. And this was my biggest thing with Baylor ever since I've seen him. I don't think he's really a good shooter, and I don't really think he's a good offensive player at all. And he's proven it again for me. He had a lot of rebounds. He has a lot of hustle. He has a lot of heart, and I can give him that. But when it comes down to your team is down 13 and they're leaving you wide open in the corner and you went 0 for 4 and 3 of those shots were three-pointers that were in the corner, obviously there's going to be eyes on you saying, oh, there's an issue over there.